Hello, hello! It's time to talk about a new solo raid. This time we're going to be talking about Gluttony. And considering I kinda just cleared them on hard mode before, I really did not understood what the fuck you were meant to do on that fight. But let's talk about it, because this fight is pretty simple. It's, dare I say it, just Black Snake, but less crap. Um, so, as far as this is concerned, the best I've done is 11.9 bill. Understand, this is on my alt. My alt has made anchor, but not made mast, so I can't use the maids whatsoever as a result. Because most of the damage comes from mast, which means anchor is complete garbage without her. However, you can use, if you only have made mast, you can make use of her, and it's actually not a bad play. We're talking about an increase of roughly 30 to 40% damage increase compared to the team I'm going to be showcasing here. And yes, as you can see, there's 6 team I'm showing. I'm going to be showing an alternative to the one where without made mask that I've done on the main. So yeah, 11.9 bill. This is a pretty easy fight to do well on, and you might even do just better than I do with what I'm going to show, because my Aska is shit. Fire Aska. My fire rate is shit. My Modernia is shit because I did not start around when Modernia got released. I started about during Chainsaw Man, so I have quite a bit of resources I could not have gotten up to that point, which meant that Modernia was kind of past her prime by the time I got her. I still used her for a bit, but, you know. All that to basically mention, I have really bad elemental damage on, like, 3 fire units. And my Mihara is not that great, either. I'm missing 2 elemental roll on mine, I think. So, yeah, I also have pretty shit ammo, I believe. No, I have decent ammo on her. My Alice is not great. So, yeah. Let's talk about these teams, because as far as I understand it, they might just be the best you can find, for the most part. Outside of, you know, the maids missing. But, you know, king of bad luck here, I spent 1,100 pulls on Little Mermaid and Mihara, and I only got 6 Little Mermaid, nothing else. I got masked from that. But the 700 wishlist pull I had saved and used and spent a bit to get, never got me more than 1 Elysian character, which was Phantom. So, yeah, this is why you don't see the 2 maids here. Otherwise, you would see them. Oh wait, no. These are the teams. You would see both of them on the SPS and Alice team, obviously. But I don't have them, so it is unfortunate. This team would probably be doing 2.1, 2.2 bill damage if I had both, but I just don't, so it is what it is. That said, let's talk about the boss. So I'm going to talk about the electric team first. There is no fire on this team. The reason why this video is coming maybe a bit late for some people is that I actually had to record my runs. So the electric team was not even something on my radar at first until I tried it. Before I used Cinderella Mihara, which does good damage. It's 2.2 bill. As you can see, I'm only replacing Maiden here. And then with Mermaid Rappy, I used Wind Aska, which did 4.2 bill. But overall, I believe I did 5.3 bill with Mihara on this team over Aska. Aska is just not seeing any play. The Wind one is not seeing any play. Mine is not that good, to be fair, so you might be able to fit her in somewhere, but she was doing worse than base Ray for me, so I don't know where to fit her. But yeah, I get 5.3 bill here, and my electric team goes from 2.2 to 1.7. So it is an increase of roughly 500 mil. Just 500 to 600 mil. Just something worth mentioning before I go touch to it. If you want to have an easier time, use Mihara with Cinderella. If not, I'm going to talk about this one. So this fight is I'm going to probably go over every mechanic of this fight. It's very simple. Bro, this fight is elementary level stuff. If you really struggle with this one, I don't know what to tell you. You just want to generate burst as much as you can, then you go Cinderella, and then Annie's, then Cinderella, Annie's, and then on 12 you go Maiden. So the boss will, as you can see here, take 10 fucking years to actually hit the character that's actually being targeted. And you will do this very flashy green effect, which basically tell you, swap to that character to cover, like this, and nothing happens. You basically take no cover damage, which I'm glad that they are actually introducing, because we have literally 2 cover recovery characters, and it's not enough. But yeah, that's the main thing to do, just swapping to avoid the slap, because you have no healer outside of Rouge in this comp. Technically, there is a team that's a lot harder to survive with, which is the Pure Fire team, which also does not have healers. But this one is a lot more annoying to play around, because you have to be like really on top of things as far as generating burst is concerned. If you want to do 1.7 bill, which seems to be more or less what you should be expecting for the common man. So if you're wondering what these circles do, it's very simple. You want to shoot them as much as possible. Gluttony is a rapture that absorbs energy and redirects it to you. This circle is the area where if you hit that instead of his body, he does not absorb the damage. So effectively what that translates to is you'll take a very little damage from this AoE, but if you just ignore it, it will wipe you out. No questions asked, you will die. So you have to hit them as much as possible. Here you can generate more burst by just hitting those little things with Maiden, but unfortunately we were still in burst here. Just something worth mentioning. And yeah, as you can see, just cover the attack and you're fine. Rouge provides some healing, but at low merge it might be a little rough. Mine is only 1 merge in. This is my free-to-play account, for God's sake. You should be fine here. This is probably the most rough part of the fight. You have to generate burst really quick here, as you can see here. Because that is a circle you can break, and you have to break it. If you fail to break it, you're dead. You genuinely have to restart. It is the worst part of that fight. As far as this part of the fight is concerned, cover the AoE. Some people might be able to just ignore that and just do more damage, or just cover it at the proper time, like I did personally. I believe I just did that. And yeah, this attack here, if you want to do more damage, you will just press shift so your character attack. You'll be able to attack under the map to hit it, thanks to that, while it's in the ground. You can do that also after the QT. But for this specific team, Cinderella needs to be at full ammo. I hope to God you have at least 40 ammo with Bastion, because if you don't, this part is going to suck. Effectively, however, I will say, if your problem is that you can't just like kill like this, like do all the circle with Cinderella, you can just delay your burst a little, but that's dangerous. That's a little dangerous. If you can delay it just enough, this might take some getting used to. If you can delay it just enough, your entire team will shoot at it, and then you'll be able to go through the QTE extremely fast. If you pull that off, it is better than what I'm doing here. But I'm intentionally doing it poorly, so you have an idea of what to do if you're caught with your pants down. You just shoot at it with Cinderella. It's that simple. Cinderella shoots fast enough to do the QTE, and yeah. Here, as you can see, I'm pressing shift so my character can shoot at it and generate burst. This is pretty important because if you don't do that, you just won't be able to get as much damage as you can. As far as this boss is concerned, it's pretty simple. It's just not well explained. It feels like an Arc Knight map sometimes. As you can see here, you can't do anything. That's completely normal. That's why you use Anise, and you don't just go Maiden here anyway. As you can see, you can just cover it. If everyone is like at a healthy position, it's fine. You can cover the electric ball to protect your HP as well, if you feel like you're in a bad position in terms of HP. And here I'm using Maiden because there's 5 seconds left. And as you can see, 1.7 build. Pretty simple stuff, really. Everyone can do this. Everyone can do this. If you can't pull it off, that is a skill issue. That's fine. You can just run Mihara, and it makes things a little easier. Especially dealing with the QTE itself. But if you're able to do this, you're able to then use Mihara in the best DPS team of this entire solo raid. We're talking 5 build plus damage. So, next up is Alice SBS. I'm going to talk about the alternative right after this with Maid Mast, but without Maid Anchor, because I don't have both on either account. I have Maid Anchor on the alt, I have Maid Mast on the main, but I don't have both on the same account. So here I was bursting with SBS first. I had not tried with Privity on this account. On my main, I have less elemental damage than Alice. So here's one thing, depending on your elemental damage, you might prefer to burst with Alice more than you do with SBS. Nothing too serious, just something to keep in mind. If you're wondering why I'm using Naga, it's just for heals, man. We have 4 really good bursts. And then we just have like this weird spot where we don't have a good one unless the enemy is a core, or the enemy has a core to exploit. Which is really awkward, but it is what it is. I was considering working on Summer Rosanna to actually use her here, but I didn't realize the amount of people who worked on Summer Rosanna can probably be counted on one hand, so probably not worth the time and effort. But yeah, otherwise the boss is very simple. Because you have a way to heal yourself, you're completely fine. This team is not exactly hard, it is just a little annoying. Because this is the worst damage team I have right now. If I had the Maids, this would be a lot easier because you can just like instantly reload thanks to the Maids reload boosts, reload buff that they have. Unfortunately, I don't have those, and as you can see here, I am waiting to burst. This is what I meant with Cinderella. You can wait a little. When the mouth is up, go for it. And also, ideally, you do it just a little faster with Cinderella's team, because otherwise you won't get to 12 bursts. You saw how tight the window was, so, you know, I'd say just before it spawns is probably the best time to go for it. But, yeah, it will be rough a bit to get the timing down. It's like the worst part of this team. That and this attack is really ass to deal with. But yeah, the fight is incredibly simple. You hit the circle as much as you can. You cover the person that's about to get slapped. And that's about it. The only thing that's really ass, if you're on hard mode, are the lasers, because they take you from full to 0. It's very fun. This fight is heavily nerfed, just like Black Snake. It is incredibly incredibly nerfed, because if it wasn't, people would despise this fight. Just because the lasers come out of almost nowhere. There is a tell for it, but it is very hard to see. So, yeah, a lot of people would hate this fight. But yeah, as you can see here, my Alice does more damage than my SBS. If this was my main, that would not be the case. So, yeah, depends on the account. As far as I know, I bursted the same amount of SBS and Alice burst, so it's completely fine regardless. But, yeah, that's this team. Third team is Fire Team, and this is the other team I was talking about that is pretty difficult to deal with. Not really difficult, but it is a bit annoying. By the way, yeah, that laser that just did like a good chunk of Modernia's HP, that's a one-shot on hard mode. It's really fun. But yeah, you have to be a little more careful and just cover the slaps. As I said, the green light tells you when to swap characters, and you're completely fine afterward. It is incredibly simple. Ray offers shields, and the shield also gives an attack buff for Asuka, so there's that. The main DPS in that team is neither Asuka or Ray, it is Maud. Here I'm breaking the projectiles, but you frankly don't have to. At least, you don't have to break every projectile. You can deal with less. Completely fine. But here, as you can see, the boss doesn't even one-shot the shield that Ray provides. In fact, this is kind of a running joke with this fight. It does just enough damage to leave 5% shield left or whatever. I don't really understand why that's the case, but hey. Whatever, bro. This fight is very simple, as I said. Unfortunately here, as you can see, the shield runs out just before, and then I just cover for it. Here you need ammo on Maud. This is super important because Maud will just clear everything by herself. As you can see, she just doesn't care whether you are in burst or not. And here, again, I press shift because the boss goes under the map, but you can still shoot them. So it doesn't fucking matter. Thank God for shift. The auto aim just lets you ignore that mechanic, I guess. It is very silly. Black Snake did the same thing, so it is really funny to me when I see it. Also, this run is just on the precipice of defeat the whole time. As you can see with the Modernia being very low HP, it's going to get worse. Much worse. Yep. But it's relatively stable. Again, like, this is my alt. My main has just way more stats under units. If my alt can survive, you can survive. Yeah, here I just covered the hit. That does no damage through cover, thank God for that. So, you can just cover it and it's completely fine. Again, I want to remind you, this is only 1.7 bill, so it looks pretty bad. I have really, really bad overloads on everyone here. So, you know, in a world where this game will give us enough meth to actually work on characters, instead of just working on maybe 3 or 4 a year, we might actually be able to work on these characters and get to a point where, because of just elemental damage, let's just say I had 70% elemental damage on everything. I think I have maybe 20% right now. 70% would be like almost a 50% damage increase for most people. It's like 150, 200, 170, 300, like, it's dumb. It's dumb. If you have a better Eska and a better Ray, you're going to out DPS me. You're going to break 2 bill pretty easily. Oh, right. The alternative with Alice SPS. Let's talk about it, because this is a bit of a weird one. So, Mast will stun herself every 3 burst. You get a good chunk of attack thanks to her every, like, 3 burst. The problem is, because you're bursting every 2 burst, one of the rotations she'll just be MIA because she's too busy being stunned. So, at some point, the rotation will change and Alice will not get Mast's buffs. That is completely normal. Wait until she just gets stunned again and repeat. It is that dumb. It's going to, like, straighten themselves for free. Like that. I have not checked what happens if I just, like, fix the problem by just bursting with Naga and extra rotation, but frankly, I still do way more damage doing it the way I did than I did with than I did without the character. I want to remind you that my ult did 1.3 bill with Privity and Naga. Yeah, see here, I was meant to burst with Mast, but I couldn't. Here's the thing with Mast. This becomes a lot easier even if you're not bursting. As you can see. She is a machine gun, so any of these mechanics become a lot easier. The whole idea of that mechanic is that you're supposed to have Mihara or Little Mermaid focusing so you can do it. So, yeah. All that to say, yeah, it's a lot easier with the character if you can. And yeah, she won't be stunned during it, which was my main concern going into it. As you can see, with 35 seconds left, I already have more damage than I did on my ult. And once again, I'm going to point this out. My ult has a better Alice. Like, definitely has at least 20% more elemental damage. So, if I had my ult Alice with this team, I would probably be doing like 1.7, 1.8. Probably more like 1.8 bill. So, yeah. A pretty big difference. As you can see, SBS does more damage, but that's because you have a distributed damage booster on the team. Makes sense. But Alice does a lot more damage as well because she doesn't have to reload as slow as before. So, worth mentioning as well. Anyway, now to go into shotguns. Shotguns are very simple. If your Drake has enough elemental damage, you can easily break 2 bill damage, by the way. Because you have Blanc on the team, you are never at risk, unless you just don't shoot the circle that spawns that you have to shoot, otherwise the boss will just one-shot your team. You know. This. If you do in fact hit the circle enough, then you just don't have any problem with this fight. This fight is very simple. I long for the day that we get a burst 2 with CDR, healing, and shotgun properties. Alas, I guess Leona was the last piece of support we ever will get. The main thing with Tove is that, depending on your RNG, you will do much better or much worse. It's very dependent on Tove, right? You will see that your damage will just fluctuate a lot with this team. This is completely normal. Here I delayed a little, so I was able to deal with the circle a little longer. As you can see, like this. So this is what I meant with Cinderella. If you time it just right, you don't even really have to use Cinderella. But you have to get the timing right. And the timing for Shotgun is very different because it's a 15-second burst. So I only had to wait like 1 or 2 seconds. But yeah, as you can see, this, again, I feel like I keep saying this, but this is very easy. If you want to avoid having to deal with a different grain, you can delay this QTE right here, so that you don't have to deal with all of this. Here I got a little unlucky. I think the best I've done was 1.8 bill in this fight with Shotgun on that account. It is what it is. Either way, it works, so eh. And now for the easiest team of the bunch. The Little Mermaid Rappy fucking fight. There is no healing in this comp. Well, actually, no, there is. I have health. Just so I can burst a little more. Frankly, if you have Helm on the team, one of the things you can do is probably min-max with her. Like, do a full charge and then spam the rest of your magazine. Just so you can burst a little faster. Because if you do that, you might be able to get an extra burst worth of damage. I don't know, I've not tried, but there are definitely times where you're hang and just wait to get that gauge filled. So if you just swap to it as the burst ends, that might help. Here you don't have to really worry about these as much. Rappy explodes a mine every time, and that can actually break those. So, just something to take note of. As you can see, the boss slapping a shield does not break the shield. Phenomenal work. That makes the fight a living joke. But yeah, you just control Little Mermaid and shoot. It's that simple. Again, if you want to try hard a little more, you can like optimize with Helm, but it's not required. And of course, you don't really care here, you just press shift so that you constantly shoot it, but here it doesn't matter, even if you were not bursting, which, Jesus Christ, did I butcher that? Little Mermaid it forces every attack that she does, or when you take control of Little Mermaid, all of your attack are focused to the point you're shooting, so it doesn't matter if you're in full burst or not, as you can see, it will always follow your thing. So, whether you're bursting or not does not really matter, which is great. But, yeah, this is pretty much it. There's not much to this boss. It's really just the QTE that's very confusing. And other than that, shield just completely breaks this boss. At least it's better than healing. I will say this, it is better than just having to heal. Because that's one of the most asinine thing when like your cover is completely ignored. Your shields basically do nothing. I've always despised every boss created that way because it just kills creativity with like how you're dealing with stuff. But yeah. See here, if I delayed my QTE, if I delayed the QTE a little, I would not have seen that shield, the green shield at the end. And I would still have been able to do the QTE, so yeah, that's something you can do to optimize damage a little. But yeah, that's about it. If you wonder, by the way, about the other teams that made, this is what my main has done. I first tried with Bunny Alice. It is just straight up worse than if I just run Privateer. Naga is enough healing. I thought I needed Bunny Alice because I fucked up the QTE with Tia Naga before. That was on me. Tia Naga is also a thing you can try. I've not tried it in a way that I succeed. So maybe it is better also than Privateer, but Privateer made more sense for me because of Alice. And then obviously Maid Mast is the better choice. If you have Maid Anchor, obviously you just replace Naga and you burst first with Mast, of course, to get as much damage increase as you can. And that's about it. Again, I hope this was useful to some. I know that I'm just covering one of the simplest boss possible, but you know, this is mostly for teams. Here is the screenshot for the teams themselves if you want to just not have to go back constantly. And also, I guess I might as well ask this. I did my Little Mermaid polls. I did actually record those on my own Discord. So if you guys want me to post this in the coming days, just give me a sign, I guess. Other than that, I'll see you all in the next one, which hopefully is Behemoth. I know I can beat her on my ult, I just don't have the motivation to play the game after how the Little Mermaid pulls went. But I'll get to it eventually. I know I can clear it. I'm level 503, I have no reason to sit on my ass unable to clear, so yeah. I'll see you all in the next one. Have a nice one. See ya.